buildings are important, but what happens inside the buildings is more important. Good morning, everyone. Before I start my speech, I wanted to understand for how many of you this is the first job. Please raise your hand. Boldly, boldly. Good. Let's give a welcome round of applause. Well, you are not only entering VIT, you are entering your profession also. This is really nice to see so many fresh faces. Madam says lucky. That's a good word to attribute to. No, Madam was my teacher. Both Dr. Sandhya and I proudly studied under Madam in this own institution. So let's give a big round of applause to Madam. 40 years ago. I didn't want to mention. Chancellor mentioned. Good. I'm glad that we broke the ice and you are all laughing and smiling, because when we entered, you were all with grim face and bit serious. Oh, Chancellor is here, VP is here, and all that. But relax. It's a very good atmosphere. You are going to have a wonderful career here at VIT. I'm seeing a room full of highly talented people, but that's what I mentioned. You are a bit anxious, I think. How many courses will I be teaching? How many papers should I publish? Even before I started getting students, I started getting so many emails in my inbox. But then, you are all worried about, one professor once told me, "Sir, I thought teaching and research is the most challenging part. But then I discovered meetings after meetings. But then later, I discovered there are committees, faculty committees after committees. So but despite all those committees, accreditation visits, reports, ranking reports, all the data collection, all that, what gives the most satisfaction is that when you stand in front of those youngsters and lead them and shape their future, that gives the best satisfaction to all of you. And I'm sure all of you are going to enjoy that kind of a satisfaction. Let me briefly give the background of VIT, because some of you may not know about the history. I'm sure the best person who can dictate history is right here, our founder. In 1984, he actually, as an MLA of this area, went to Dr. MGR and asked for a government engineering college, because all of the students from this area either went to Bangalore or Chennai or had to go to Salem. He asked for a government engineering college as a public representative, but then Dr. MGR told him, "We don't have that kind of resources, but why don't you start one?" That's the story. In 1984, Dr. MGR gave permission to him. He said, "Go and file a report," and he immediately came up with a project report. He went and asked for a government college, but he got a private college, and it's one of the first self-financing institution of Tamil Nadu. Not just first, it became the best self-financing institution. The very first batch, he started in the year 1984. In 1988, out of the 9 medals of University of Madras, we had only 3 branches at that time: civil, mechanical, and ECE. So each branch has 3 medals, right? Gold, silver, and bronze. So out of 9 medals, VEC got 8 medals. That history nobody will ever forget. So people are all looking at only Chennai, because that's the headquarters, right, city. And only then people started noticing there is a town called Vellore. And there's an engineering college called VEC at that time. So proud that Dr. Sandhya and I entered this campus in 1986. It's 40 years now. As teenagers, we entered this campus. So, memories are still fresh. What made it happen? It is because of his sheer hard work and dedication, and selfless public service. Many of them at that time when they started the college, they named it after their father or mother or somebody else, something else. But he's named this institution after the town, Vellore Engineering College. That itself shows, a lot of people said, sir, this is really good, because it's not about an individual. It's about this town, it's about this city. That shows the broad-mindedness in those days. I'm talking about 42 years ago. So that's how, of course, my friend Gokul is also here. I should also mention, he also studied in this institution in 1986 to 90. There are many of our classmates who are professors here. So the point is, we have a very rich history. Now we have seen many downs, many ups. So this institution got its fame right from the beginning, and we have been maintaining that quality of education. How does that happen? Not just visionary leadership, right? The faculty. The faculty matters. Right from day one, we have been having very dedicated faculty. So even though this institution has a 42-year history, we always look at institutions like Harvard or Cambridge or Oxford or Stanford, which have centuries together of legacy. Right? We think, okay, we are the oldest, one of the oldest self-financing college in Tamil Nadu, right? No. We are one of the youngest when you look at Oxford, when you look at Cambridge. So our vision is not about surpassing IITs. Our vision is about surpassing MIT. Not the MIT in Madras, I'm talking about MIT in Massachusetts. Right? So that's going to happen, because we have built this institution brick by brick, student by student, teacher by teacher, year over year. We have seen results. This has happened, and we are not known, very well known, not just because of infrastructure we have, or not just because of the rankings. It's because of the success of our students. You go to any country, you will see a VIT in there. Chancellor always takes personal interest in attending alumni meet. He even goes to alumni home and has dinner there. Every city in US has a alumni chapter. Every state has an alumni chapter. So the success of our students, the dedication of our faculty, and most importantly, the trust the society has placed on us, the industry and the society. You see the kind of, the VT entrance exam. 2.7 lakhs students write our entrance exam. 2.7 lakhs, next only to JEE. What does that mean? It shows the trust the entire society puts on VIT. So I want to mention the trust word, because there is a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. When somebody trusts you like that, we better respond in a very positive way. At VIT, we don't just create graduates. We create knowledge creators. We create innovators. We create entrepreneurs. We create leaders, not just leaders, ethical leaders, because we don't want to compromise on the ethics. So students should develop critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, ethical judgment, and lifelong learning skills. So as faculty, you are the true strength of VIT. Students, you are all have been students. Some of you recently, some of you much older. You don't remember the equations which was taught in the class. You remember the teacher's kindness towards you. You remember how your teacher helped you. It could be a school teacher. Even today, Chancellor gives his third grade teacher example. How his mathematics teacher came home and told him that you should also shine in mathematics. Right? That kind of personal care. That's what our students will remember. And that's what I want you to focus on. it's, you should keep asking, because teaching is not just any other profession. It is actually nation building. Believe it or not, we are building this nation. We are creating these graduates who go and create the nation, build the nation. So what difference did I make in the life of student today? That's a question you need to ask yourself every day. What difference did I make in the life of a student? So if you ask that question, I'm sure you will continuously focus on that. I also want to mention about research. Teaching and research are two eyes, left eye and right eye. Which is more important? You already know the answer. Both are important. So when you say research, I wanted to mention a point. It seems a professor went to the vice chancellor, not in VIT, somewhere else, went to the vice chancellor and told him, that's why I use the word him, so it's definitely not VIT, told him, sir, this year I have published 25 papers, 25 publications. So the vice chancellor asked him back, did you at least have the time to read all your papers? So you got to be careful. There will be temptations. People will tempt you saying, you give me some money, I'll put your name as a co-author, or I'll give you some money, you put my name as co-author. All sorts of frauds are taking place. So you got to be very careful. Don't yield to all those messages which are floating around and all that. We need to focus on quality research. Not just quality research, research with a purpose. Research which has impact. What did my research do? It should not be just sleeping in some paper form. What is the impact it has on the society or in your field? Is it solving a problem? Is it solving a real world problem? So that's the kind of research I want you to take up. Does it lead to a product? Does it lead to a patent? So research with an impact is very, very important. And we are also encouraging innovation and entrepreneurship in our institution. We have a separate department that encourages, but I want every one of you think of what kind of solution is coming out of VIT. Is my lab giving a breakthrough to the society? How many startups did I help create? So those are all the questions you need to ask yourself. And more importantly, you need to have a global outlook, right? We are getting students from so many countries. We are having partnerships with so many hundreds of actually universities. Are we taking advantage of those partnerships? Because the competition is not just within India, right? For our students, it's worldwide global competition. So you need to have that global outlook. And another important point about VIT is that it is a student-centric culture. Chancellor always asks, you are all discussing so many things in core group. Did you think about the student? When you make a decision, how is it? I know all of them are smiling because they have been asked that question 1,000 times. Did you think about the student? So I want you to ask that same question to yourself. Whenever you are making decisions as an administrator or faculty, is it helping the student? So we should put student at the center. Everyone should say, student success is my success. Right? If my student succeeds, that's all I want. So, as to looking about the future of VIT, we want to be a globally respected research university, right? And there are no shortcuts for success. VIT doesn't take shortcut. We are here for the long run. No unethical business, no shortcuts in ethics. We want to be globally respected, and we want to be the hub of innovation and entrepreneurship, and we want to be a leader in interdisciplinary education, and we want to be there for India. We want to, Chancellor keeps saying that, when India leads the world, VIT will lead India. So we need to be there to solve our country's problems. There are so many problems our society faces. We got to use our technology, our brains to solve those problems. You know, not just vision statements. We might be having glorified vision statements. You know, we need to create greatness through our people. You know, it's not just a job, it's a movement. It's a people movement. As we put our collective efforts, you know, together, we can continue to build an institution that inspires pride, creates impact, and transforms lives. I want to close by saying that we are not preparing students for the future. We are preparing students to create the future. Dream big, work hard, stay humble, transform lives. That is VIT. Thank you.